Hi, welcome to the Curious Songwriter. It's a show where we talk to different musicians and we break down the process of writing and composition and a little bit of production about one of their songs. For the first episode, I got to speak to the amazing singer-songwriter Bhrigu Sahni, who is a graduate from Berklee School of Music, and he's formed his own unique style in songwriting. The song that we're going to talk about today is Time to Fall. It's a song from his album What Is Now. It came out in 2017. The song is available on all streaming platforms. I'd urge you to listen to the song before you get onto this episode. And the episode starts in 3, 2, 1. All right. So let's talk about Time to Fall. I remember listening to it like early 2018. This was the first song I think that I heard from the EP when I heard it like properly, and I was like, the line, you felt the high and now come on down. I think that's stuck with me, and I'm sure like you've heard this before from people who've heard your music, and it's something that I even like mentally apply to a lot of things.
I just remember feeling like that way, like I would feel like there, like in retrospect, right? There would be like ups and downs in life where you're just like, sometimes everything is like on and you're like nailing this and that and it's all like busy and everything's in sync almost. And like everything is, it's got not an eerie quality, but it's got a really like higher quality.
Take me to the moment when you started writing this song.
Absolutely. So I was in Boston. I had just graduated from Berklee and I was sitting in my room where I would make music. And I knew I had to sort of make this album. But beyond that, I sort of wanted to record or compose. I wanted to compose my own solo guitar piece. And so I experimented with the tuning and I found this really nice tuning.
Yeah.
Really nice, open sort of tuning. And I wanted to use a new technique. So I was doing this hammer on and pull off situation, right? So there's no right hand. So I had that. And I was like, I wanted to add a bass line. You can just strum. This is the bass line on it. So I figured that this is in the key of D. And I can hit this guy. And I doubled the speed on the left hand, right?
Oh, right. When you were writing this part, were you aware of the changes you were making, or were those changes instinctive?
Yeah, they were a good question. They were a mix of both. They were intuitive. And when I get stuck on an intuitive thing, like for example on this is totally intuitive, right?
Right.
Then I'm thinking, okay, iske baad kahan ja sakte hain? So then I'm like, let me put some theoretical knowledge and then find that and then again use some instinct. I really like this groove. It just feels so nice to play.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it basically started off as a guitar piece.
Right.
ठीक है और ये है कब की बात है यार ये तो 2013 I want to say. Then I came back to India and I was on tour with an awesome drummer friend called Agneya Chikte. We would rehearse at his place and I would be playing this and he'd like add a groove to it. And then I just started singing over it, just start singing something, like anything. I don't even know what at that point. But then I was like, man, some words and some singing kind of fits well on this.
Right.
You're trying to write, what are you going to write about? That's
true.
a big question.
Right.
And you're sitting there with that blank page and you're just like, that can be a period of like a minute where you write the whole song if you're feeling very inspired, or delay into decades or like a couple of years, so because you don't know what to write about. So then I guess it's also a long time ago, but I just feel like I started writing about this time to fall. You felt the high, now come on down. I remember sitting on top of my roof in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And really nice place with like the skyline of Manhattan, and just sitting, chilling, smoking a cigarette. And I had my little book in which I was just like scribbling, like writing, one line after the other. And
So you had the pre-chorus first, I think, right? You felt the high. Now come on down. That the
dude,
first thing that came out? No, you don't remember.
don't no, I don't remember,
Right,
man. I'm
right,
sorry, to be honest.
right.
I can't. I
Okay,
think I
okay.
think it I think it might have started like linearly, sequentially from the
Sequentially.
top. A feeling in my chest. Uh, Holy shit.
Won't let me
Uh,
be.
this feeling in my thank you.
I have sailed too
Feeling in my chest
far
won't let
in
me be.
MTC.
I have sailed too
Too
far
far
in
in MTC.
MTC.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I was in a tough space in New York at that point.
Right, right, right,
It was a little tough. I was like, why am I here? Kya kar raha hoon? I had a job that fell through. I was working at a bar as a bar back, which is like a cleaner type of person, assisting the bartender.
right,
And I was just like, yo, what am I doing in life? This is not where I was supposed to be. Graduate from
right.
Berkeley, and like thoda strange scenes, busking in the subway. So I started writing this. I think that's where it came from.
Do you remember if you wrote the entire thing in like one session, or was it that you had like it came in bits and pieces to you? This song,
Like the lyrics,
yeah, the lyrics.
yeah, a couple of sessions, definitely,
Okay,
definitely a few hits. I'd say three, two or three.
okay, okay. And what about the tune, or that came like together for you?
I think I had that verse section and the chorus section. Yeah, and then I went to the lyrical section. Sometimes you have words and you're like, this is it, mil gaya. You don't want to change it.
Yeah.
But that fourth line, no wave can bring me back to the shore. I was like not convinced about it. I was like not feeling it so hard. And then I was just like, man, fuck it, leave it, carry on to the next part. And
Right.
then the chorus or pre-chorus, however you define it, you felt the high, now come on down. There has to be a balance now, time to fall. That is the anchor or the key, I feel, and that just came, you know.
Was it in
That's
that same
a
sitting when you were writing it on your
I
rooftop?
don't know, honestly.
You
I don't
don't
I don't
remember.
know. I don't
Right.
know.
Okay.
Maybe,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. But the point is that I do something called journaling, which is also known as writing your diary or whatever, writing a thought or whatever, right? Now, what is interesting, the mechanism of it is when you write something. Usually, I'm like in a perplexed situation where stuff in life isn't making sense, and it's like, so I'm writing, and say after I've like not purged, but let out all of these thoughts, 75% through, a different voice comes, the one that gives the perspective or sheds light on the situation, being like, oh, you should let it do, you should do this or this, don't worry, this was something, so almost that second bit came in that lyric writing process, which was like the answer.
You don't have a bridge section like in the technical songwriting
Hmm.
structure wise. You have like a verse, you have a small pre-chorus, then you have a
Mm,
chorus, then you have second verse, you have a second chorus, pre-chorus, and then you have the
correct.
chorus, and then you go into, you have like a long intro, which also you also have a long outro in the song, which
I guess approaching it from like a guitar player's perspective, guitar composer perspective, तो उसमें शायद bridge नहीं होता, क्या पता.
right,
It's like usually you
right,
have like an A idea, and then you've got like, okay, where do I go from here? Okay, I've got a B idea. Okay, let's go
yeah.
there. All right, now that's done. Let's go back to the A. Not so structured, which is something actually I've been trying to get more into.
Okay.
Sort of setting structure, because sometimes I can just go on and on into like a long
Oh, is it?
tone.
I am
Yeah,
so tied to
especially
the
like when I.
structure. It's unbelievable. Like
Oh,
I have four. I
oh.
have. I have a verse. I have a chorus. I have second verse. I have second chorus. I'll think about if I want to have a bridge. I have 8 lines of a bridge or 4 lines of bridge, and I'm like, well, I just need an outro now, and I'm done.
Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Especially now, I've been working with dabbling with Ableton. Right,
Right.
it's blowing my mind,
Right.
and I'm just like making grooves, and it's just like from here it goes into this groove, and then I drop something, it goes into that groove, as opposed to like that cut. And
Right.
so I have like these long pieces that are just like going on, and there's no. It's very the lines are very blurry.
Right.
Into I've made a track. It's called Every Time, and it's again got a nice intro, and then suddenly the vocals come in from somewhere and the vibe changes, and then it goes so it's got that. But what it does, it keeps you listening. It
That's
goes with
true.
your train of thought goes along with it, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I guess it's just
Yeah, and it's also the
I'm
kind of
built.
music you consume. I feel like I consume a lot of singer-songwriters who are like very
Yeah,
structured. So then it kind of comes to me like,
yeah, yeah.
hey, now I feel like going into bridge.
Dude, that's very true. That's very true. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of music do you listen to? Like, what are your most biggest influences? Especially when it
Man,
comes to
that
songwriting.
oh shit. That's the thing. So I don't listen too much to songwriters. Actually
Okay.
at all. Like
Okay.
very rarely do I play like a song by someone. Like I mean, I would listen to I'd say Pink Floyd, growing up, Simon and Garfunkel. Again, not too much, but
Right.
that's what would be played at home. A lot of the Who, the rock opera Tommy. Uh, and these guys have long intros. Like fucking Pink Floyd can go on forever, man.
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Moon or like Shine On You Crazy Diamond. That intro is like forever. you
Yeah.
know.
They just keep going on.
Uh, but I would also really like listening to Keith Jarrett, um, who's like this amazing jazz pianist who would like just sit down in a concert hall with like some 2,000, 3,000 people alone on the piano and just improvise, man. He'd come in with like a few motifs, but like a 40-minute improv, bro.
Just
Just
keep
sitting there
grooving and like, yeah.
playing, and then like 10 minutes into it, he'd really get it, and some beautiful stuff would like come out. So I'd be listening to stuff like that and some Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Saab. And then as I grew older, a lot of hip hop, a lot of reggae. I guess in songwriting, I would like Bob Marley's music.
Okay. All
You
right.
know, I'd like his lyrical content a lot. Almost like a mission rather.
Right.
And Leonard Cohen again, but that's for his lyrical value. I wouldn't necessarily put on his songs and listen to them.
Yeah.
So, so I guess yeah, you're right. You're right. It's like your influences really affect how you create.
Pink Floyd or like Nusrat Saab, their songs just are like they go on for long, and there is of course there's sheer brilliance in every bar I would call like in whatever's happening,
Yeah,
but then
yeah,
there is a meditative quality to that sort of music. But when you're listening to this kind of stuff, I feel like it's a journey. It's gonna start
yeah,
somewhere and it's just gonna take
yeah.
you really like far away from what it was, which is also a
Absolutely. Like
quality that Time to Fall has. Uh,
I like the idea. In your lyrics or when you say something, there's a little message or whatever, an expression or sorry, an emotion that's been portrayed, right? And once that ends, the music that carries on after has like a massaging effect, or it sort of holds you while you're still reeling from that effect of having heard that last emotion, or whatever it is, the message. And so it has that effect, like especially in that song Time to Fall. It ends and then there's like this long sax outro and guitar, and it just helps the listener introspect for some time, as opposed to like Gana Khatam Ho Gaya Chalo Abhi, that sort of vibe.
right, right.
So I would like to put no, just in general, in theory, just putting something, bam, and then giving time for the person to like comprehend rather, or just feel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I've seen you live, and where the first piece that you perform is just to set the mood, and I've seen you do that multiple
Yeah,
times. So
yeah.
you do
Tune the room.
yeah,
Yeah.
you tune the room. Yes, I remember you saying that too. So you tune the room. Is it something that's very important to you as a performer, or you want to give that to the audience as well?
No, yeah, I want to give that to the audience. But more importantly, Omkar, it's that if I am not in a state of like that, not pure, yeah, pure state of really playing from the deepest part that I can play from, the most clear and innocent, pure, whatever state, as opposed, show में क्या क्या नहीं होता है यार, साला monitor is going tack, somebody doing choo choo, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So to zone in yourself into that space, and just doing that, which means taking a second, or which means playing a chord for a little longer before you set out into a tune, that just tunes myself or keeps me centered. Because many times I feel like I've played and I'm not there. I'm like thinking about something else. I'm like, oh shit, maybe the sound is, and it hits. It doesn't translate. So if I'm really zen or like really in centered and feeling it perfectly, then that translates to the listener, to the audience immediately.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
very good point, I think, for anybody who's gonna watch this ever, if at all, to like
Oh, people will
just
watch,
like
man. I'll share it for sure.
so just like take your time in songs, man. Coming to the production and the
Yeah.
collaboration part, uh,
Yeah.
you have like a bunch of other instruments happening on the song. So all
Yeah.
were those all like sample produced, or did you have like uh, musicians coming in and playing each of those
All
sections?
right. So check it out. This is a crazy story. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe not so crazy, but okay. So check it out. So now I'm in New York and I have this song. ठीक है. और वर्ड्स भी हैं, मतलब लिख दिया है गाना, और सोच रहे हैं कि चलो रिकॉर्ड करेंगे, राइट? So little tense. I was like in a tension sort of space,
Right. Right.
trying to like, I need to record this. How do I record this? Oh my god,
Right.
Anyway, so I was working as a waiter and I made some money and I had like $200 to spend on this recording, which is like really nothing. And I had a dear friend of mine, Rajiv Madela, who goes by the name Currency. And he came to India and he plays amazing like live drum and bass music, crazy. But he was like my best friend in New York, right? And I'd hang with him and we'd jam in his rehearsal space, and we practiced this song. He got a nice drum groove to it, and we went to the studio in New York. Again, a friend of mine running it, and we pulled a couple of hours, and I laid down the guitar, he laid down the drums, and it sounded really nice, and I thought it was cool, and I got the session, and and then I and then I brought it back to India, where I met my producer, right? My old time colleague, Karan Kulkarni, and I played it for him. I was like, dude, here. So we don't need to record Time to Fall because we already have it. That's from New York. It's from New York. Okay, so I so I'm playing it for him. I play him the track, and he's like, we can't use this because we need to re-record the guitar. We can't use the drums because there's too much drums. I'd rather put. He's like, I'd rather put less so that the guitar is heard more, so that we redo it. बोला यार ठीक है यार, what the hell. But a very cool thing happened from that is, one, we took Rajiv's contribution, which was the drum set, the beat, the groove, very cool groove. And now I had to go in and record vocals in a different session. And I was like, yeah, khali guitar or vocal, sorry, only drums and guitar sounds a little empty. I should add something. So I called my awesome musician friend who plays the saxophone, AJ Farley. And he came in, and I was like, man, towards the end, just like play some sax, right? Just play something. And he's like, what should I play? I'm like, baja de yaar, koi bhi, kuch bhi. Like, just play long, give me long tones, play me some nice stuff. And
Did
so
you
he
have
gave
fixed
me a
number of
few.
bars that time for the outro?
Yeah. The guitar tracks had been laid out.
Guitars laid
So
out.
I was
Okay.
like, start after the chorus and play till the end. And it was really cool because he gave me like a series of like long tones, right? Um, I'll just play them.
Yeah.
cool. So he gives me a bunch of these takes. As you can
Right.
see, they're lined up over here.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, what do I do with this?
Okay.
Because it's just this over the guitar and the
Yeah.
drums. Let me
Yeah.
play you the guitar and the drum track. So over here, I wanted to put some sax.
Right.
Now he basically is playing. AJ is playing like one note, one line, and I'm like, and he gave me a few different takes, but I wasn't vibing with it. And then I figured, like, dong. I was like, man, I'll make a chorale out of all of these sax tracks. So I basically lined all the sax tracks up
Oh.
and then shifted them a little bit left, right, so that it gives it like a bad sort of feeling. So say I have like, these are the sax tracks,
Yeah.
right? I like saying sax tracks. Randomly lined them up over here, but if you listen to it, it has a nice, ebb and flow.
Was he harmonizing each track as he went? Because I heard like there were a couple of harmonies there.
No, they were just different takes. So he was playing one line and then another line, the same line again.
Okay.
And then sometimes he would give me a different take. He would play like, so he didn't know that I was going to double them. So he was just giving me
Right.
single melodies,
Right.
and then I
Right.
stacked them up and it sounded so beautiful towards the end.
Yeah.
And so then I used them. Should I play you the original? Where they are
Yes. Go
all
for
in
it.
there? Yeah.
Time to fall. Time to fall. Time to fall.
It's kind of like opening up the song
Yeah.
much more than what the previous sections did.
Yeah. So I basically bring this to Karan, and he is, for some reason, having a hard time on this song. He doesn't know what to do with this song.
Okay.
All the other songs are like straight up. He's like, I got this,
Right.
no problem,
Nice.
And I, for some reason, for this song, he has some block. He's like, I don't know what to do on this song, man.
Right.
And I'm like, yaar, kuch to kar le, yaar, play some keys, play some shit,
Right.
And I was staying with him at the time in his apartment in Bombay. It was pretty awesome, actually. And he just had a roadblock. Like there was a block, and that's cool because sometimes, when you have a block, what comes out after is like really cool. So what did happen is first he came up with this awesome horn and kick hit on like the beginning of towards the beginning of the track, and that was like the thing that helped production wise.
Okay.
That's the thing that helped the track open up from his end.
Right.
That thing.
Got it.
उसके बाद फट काम हो गया. Added some keys over here and yeah. But that is one of my favorite production additions to the whole album, actually. So,
And this is the drum and the drum kick is also sampled, or was it from the previous drum session that you've done?
No. We ripped the beat. We took the beat and literally made the kick snare. So it's just doom, ka, doom, doom, ka, doom,
Right.
ka. You know, so it's just that groove that's like looped. और उसके ऊपर छोटे छोटे से चीजें हैं, like little ornaments here and there, you know. Just to leave space, because that guitar line is so busy. You know, there's
Yeah.
so much going on in that guitar part itself that you don't want to put too many hats or symbols or yeah, that was the
Right.
thinking behind that.
Production process like, and were you guys like always on the same page when it came to the vision of not only this song but the entire EP? Was it like played with and then it came together in terms of the sound of it?
Yeah, I had no vision with it, production wise.
Okay.
I also didn't want to have one. Better for a person who comes in to have own their space, you know, so they can play whatever they want. Karan,
Yeah.
it's that I feel like I could trust him, you know, because I like his sense. I like his musical sensibility, and beyond that, I know him as a person. Like for long, we were in our first band together, you know. So I trusted him like a brother.
This is something that I generally want to ask, and that's something that's it comes from my own curiosity about about writing songs and like recording them and like performing with other musicians. And the most important part is collaboration with other musicians. I know you didn't have a lot of collaborations happening on this entire record itself, but you've worked a lot with other musicians and you've played sessions and you've done all of that. uh, what are the things that you remember, like do you remind yourself when you're collaborating with other musicians, and sometimes you want to say something that you are not equipped in your musical language, or the other person is completely on another tangent with the song, they interpret the song in a very different way. So how do you collaborate with other musicians?
I'd say it. I'd say a lot of the time it's ego that brings a wall. Bam, massive opaque wall. Boom. There's
Right.
nothing you can do about it, you know.
Right.
So leaving ego at the door is step number one. Absolutely. Uh, Step number two is, what's the purpose of this project? You know, are you bringing me on board to help you as a guitar player? Is it like a half and half feature, or what's the vibe? You know, so assessing that purpose, and then collaborating. So these are, I think, the two topmost sort of things to approach
Right.
before you enter. You know,
Right.
yeah.
When it comes to
Need
your
to,
songs, a lot of times you may have a certain idea, and a lot of times you don't. How do you kind of then make choices that you think are the right ones for the song?
two scenarios. One, if you know what you want, then you sort of get that from that person, and give them the space to feel free to give their best performance. Otherwise, you don't know what you want, but you kind of want a little, say, organ, or you want a little background vocals or whatever. Then you run the track times, have them play, sing over it a few times, and then direct. You know, then what is unknown becomes known. You know, then you're like, oh, maybe I want that color. Then you tell her, him to do this a bit more. You know, take a few more takes, then bounce, go to the studio and sort of clean up, figure.
Right.
You know, for example, with the sax player on Time to Fall, I didn't know what I wanted. I was just like, yeah, maybe I want a little sax. And then I walked out of the session being like, yeah, you know, I don't know if I can use this, you know. But then I was like, okay, let's see what I can. So I stacked them all up, and anyway, so yeah, it's interesting. There's no like one way, you know, which
Right.
is the beauty of it, because then there's so much more to discover, you know.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think we have reached to a point where we've got all that we needed. Perfect, man. Thank you so much. And good night,
Adios,
bro.
amigo. Good night,
Good
bro.
night.
Have a good one.
Cheers.